beautiful souls. What an insane month March was, right? I haven't really been posting videos because I've had internal conflicts, whether I ignore an elephant in a room or if I don't. However, I don't think I can. I've consulted with Spirit, and I believe that we have all kind of signed up for this time and period of our life to be here during these moments. And a part of my job, if you will, as I serve, is to speak right now. Though I've struggled, and there has been a lot of energies that have come in, I have had to use a lot of discernment and deciphering between what is mine, what is a collective, and what is beyond the chaos. Amongst these turbulations, there has been many people that have come together, and there are people actually kind of going at war, if you will, like battering one another. And what's ironic about it is I think we're all actually standing up for the same thing, but with different perceptions and views. And I don't think Spirit ever, and they are not discouraging us from ever speaking our truth. However, I do think very predominantly we are asked to come back into realignment. It does us no good going out and charging out into a battlefield that we are not properly armored, like geared up with our armor and our shield. It's actually kind of just be really bad, right? So I do feel like that's really important, because we are coming upon, we have yet to see the worst of it. And it's very important that we remember that we are all on the same team, and that together there's more power. I have been encouraged to be vulnerable in hopes that it might help somebody through my own story. But if there's something the very most important part of this basis of the story, or this message, not story, this part, I have a gift. I get to embody somebody's world of a very energetic field, and I get some symbologies sometimes, and then I can get some downloads and some guidance from Spirit. Now, this has been coming in the last month on a very collective, and I cannot say it has affected everybody, but it's definitely happening on a global level. And people are being forced, almost essentially, to look at some scary things in their life. Things that they have suppressed, insecurities, some doubts, grieving and pains, and ultimately fear. And it's heavy. And I have felt it build up in the last genuinely, I think it started March 11th, and it's just continually to the point where it has brought me to my own knees through my own purging, and has also beautifully brought up my own stuff that I have had to work through. And if we are not working through it, then we're not evolving. So even to the people that say they have no fear, I would ask, at least at minimum, have some compassion for those that do. And what goes along with that is that there's a very big calling that we create a safe haven for people, because people are really scared right now, on top of their own, with the karmic collective pressures on top of it. And if they've never gone through this work before, it's not only heavy, it's applied pressure, making it harder. And some people need to be able to turn and ask for help, yet there's an added fear to that they may be ridiculed or belittled or shamed, or that they should just wake up or see this or that. And we were reminded that we are all living within a perception that is always very warranted through our own experience, and to act during this time with a lot, if we can be sensitive and compassionate to other people's needs. Though we are at social distancing, a phone call FaceTime, many ways to be there for others. And I think above all else, making sure that they know that there's a safe haven, it's a safe place, and they won't be belittled or feel like they're dumb. And I know this because I felt it. And there are a lot of people begging right now that their prayers be answered, to be heard. And that's because as I embody what is out there, it's because it's through their free will. The remainder of this message is through my own vulnerability, and if you find if it helps, then it's worth it. I have also felt my own the pressures, and I live in Utah, which is on a fault line. And shortly after consulting with my angels, they've told me to be prepared. So now we have the coronavirus, and we have a lot of different speculations going on. I have felt a global mass, and amongst that, I hear be prepared. Well, I couldn't help at that point, once I heard that, to have it all internally. It affected me. And though I've gone through a massive amount of work myself, it has boiled up something which is not necessarily of the unknown, but something that I don't like to look at as an empath. Amongst being prepared, when I ask what's happening on Beyond the Veil, there is contrast happening. There is heavy energy that I don't like dealing with. And I'm a super sensitive soul, and I struggle to watch a commercial without getting choked up. But in all of that, it sprung forward something that I never really fully acknowledged to be kind of traumatic as a young girl or young adolescent. But the idea sprang forward of the end of the world. Now, I don't think this is necessarily the end of the world, but that's the energies that it carried, and the fear that sprung into me. And what was so fearful about that, between be prepared and what's going on, an earthquake, and I have this sickness around the world, and a neighboring volcano that may potentially go off, and we had another earthquake here in Idaho, which is my other neighboring, but why would I be so scared? My angels tell me I signed up, and I'm in fact excited to be here during this time, and I have felt anything but strong. It has brought me to my knees. I have felt like a big fat crybaby, and that's because, not fully acknowledging it as a traumatic event, people had told me when I was younger, and probably last time it was ever really discussed was a young teen, 12 or 13, about how the streets would be covered with blood, and natural disaster would take place, and the cruelty of the world would be coming forward, and people would be dying left and right. And I have studied enough psychology, and even though I'm very practical, and the only way I even started on my spiritual journey was genuinely through science. So I do recognize that these are imprints on my brain from very young age that only through my own perception and conception could I see. It's only this narrowness, and I've desperately been wanting to widen that perception, because through all contrast and as light is shed, we know there is liberation, and I've heard that is beautiful and that I should be here. But there is a contrasting energy, and I will not lie, and it's made me very uncomfortable. It's not that of the unknown, but acknowledging that there are bad things that happen in our world. And like evil, is all I can say when I think about it. And being forced to look at that myself, because I know that suppressing it does me no good. And it's not that it's unknown, but I have always struggled to learn about history, like from concentration camps and this and that. Like, I would never want to live to see it that day. I would never want to experience that. I would never want to see anybody else experience that. And thank the Lord, I have some amazing souls that have created a safe haven, because I know that my perception is only as far as what I have experienced or seen, probably through media and through movies that was instilled in my mind. So I've had amazing souls that have been sweet enough to give me that safe haven so that I can cry. Also through my own purging at night and crying with the support of my guides and my angels and the divine. And recognizing that even though I have felt very limited and feeling that I am anything, like, I don't know why I would want to sign up for this, because I'm a big, sensitive, mushy, I feel very uncourageous and I feel like a wimp. Why would I sign up for this, and how do I transcend through this? Now, many people might listen to this and think that's stupid or that's silly or whatnot, but this is me being vulnerable. Those are things that I have suppressed unknowingly, and also have thought many times, like, I just have to acknowledge that, but I'm not. It's like being informed but not being indulged, and it has come back up. And I've had to have a way to widen my perception, despite my knowing that it's all going to be beautiful in the end. Despite, I know there'll be some tribulations, but my angels have got me. Despite my faith that they've never misled me. And I only share that because I know everybody's got different fears. Things of the unknown, material possessions that may be wiped from them. And God knows, I know that when they told me to be prepared, that was one of the first things that came up. That was one of the first things that kind of came up. I think I am far from materialistic. I'm pretty simple. I don't have much, but if that earthquake and volcano hit, all of it would be swiped. Does that mean I had to do a check? Like, does that mean I am in attachment? Well, there is some attachment, but it's also seeing that I'm human and I take pride in the things I have in a humble way. I'm grateful for what I have, and I recognize that if it was swiped, that would really suck. And they're telling me right now, one of the best ways I was able to find peace through my own fear was I had to go in and, maybe this acts as a reminder, but I had to love that little girl that only had that perception that she had seen and known. And I have had to love myself, even though I can sense there is bad energy beyond what I can see, because my angels, they're loving and whatever, but they don't lie. To hold and love my inner child, and to know that my higher self, I guess it's weird, I can call me split personality, but I see my little girl, I see my higher self, who has the higher perspective, and I have myself, but we're all correlated. To love that inner child, to comfort her, to love her. And even though we both are uncertain, there's a lot of comfort in knowing the innate compass of her, the higher self, knows what she is doing. That we all signed up for this, but she's actually pretty excited because she knows. And I can feel that in my soul too. So it's been a lot of cognitive dissonance, if you will, between what I have felt, what is true, and what I don't know. You're not alone in your fears. And I hope everybody can at least at minimum give that safe haven for others, because whether we want to admit it or not, energy doesn't lie. And it's happening on a very global level. People are begging for their prayers to be answered. But we will transcend through this. but it takes a lot of pulling layers back through our evolution, and to be able to work through those things and knowing how to do it. And sometimes it's gaining a better perspective. I have so much love for you guys. I think we signed up for this. I think I signed up for it. So I can't ignore the elephant in the room. Love you guys.